I'm so frustrated. I'm so frustrated. Blah. Okay, palliative care update. When I saw them, the head doctor of my team said that she would contact me in about a week, like after she looks at everything and kind of tries to get a handle on all the things that I'm dealing with and all that good stuff. And so a week goes by, no anything. I asked them what's going on, and they were like, well, we're still waiting for your cardiology records. And they're like, we're hoping to get them by the end of this week, and then we can, start going through everything and blah, blah. So I waited, I guess, until the end of that week, and I waited like an extra week already on top of it, like, so it had already been forever. And I contacted them like Thursday or Friday of a week, whatever week it was. And they're like, well, we still don't have your cardiology records. And I'm like, that's really weird. Like, it's been forever. But I had requested them like 2 days before they had, and I still didn't have anything, so I didn't think it was really all that weird. So obviously them getting them is much more important than me having them for the moment. And so I called cardiology. They said that both requests were in the system. It looked like it looked like the palliative request had been processed, but mine was like sitting in this kind of like no man's land. And I'm like, what does that mean? And they were like, well, I really don't know where they're at, because of course they outsourced all of their records like that. And so she gives me the number for the place to call that does the records. So I call over there, I tell them who I am, why I'm calling, blah, 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 and they look it up, and they said that they see the request from my other health system, and it had been sent like a week ago. And I'm like, okay. And I was like, well, how do you send them? Because I'm thinking some huge big ass file shows up in the mail, and they're not going to be like, not notice it, or I don't know. It just didn't make any sense. And they said, no, they send them kind of sort of electronically. And I'm like, what does kind of sort of mean? And she said that they compile all of the documents on their server, and then they either fax or email the doctor, whoever it is, and tells them, like, sends a link with it to go to it on their server, and then they can log in with the information that they provide, and then they can download whatever they want. And I'm like, okay. And she goes, and we show that they said it on like the 19th. This was already like a week later. They said it shows that somebody at that facility has already looked at your records. And I'm like, oh my God, like, I'm so tired of this whole right hand, left hand, and nobody knows what's going on. And so I asked them to resend it, the login, whatever, access. She was like, absolutely, I'll send it in the next 5 minutes. So then I sent another email to Palliative and told them the same thing. You guys had them on the 19th. Somebody logged in and looked at it. I'm totally confused. Obviously, this is what is standing in the way of me getting help. I asked her to resend it. Please keep an eye on it, and this is how it's going to show up. And then a few hours later, they messaged me, and they were like, oh my gosh, we totally got it. We got into it. And she was like, your doctor isn't here this week. She's off on vacation. And she's like, well, we're going to start getting in there and pulling all the stuff off that we need. And I'm like, well, praise the Lord. Side note, I called cardiology back and told them what had happened, and I go, and they have no record of me having a request in. And she was like, well, I see it here on this end. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you. All I can tell you is they have no record of receiving it. And so can you resend it to them? So hopefully I can get it tomorrow. And she was like, oh, well, you won't be able to get it tomorrow. And I'm like, why the fuck not? Like, they're my records. I asked for these things weeks ago. What in the world is the problem? And she goes, well, they only come every Wednesday to get all of the records, and then they have to take them back to their facility and do all the things and upload it and whatever. And I'm just like, okay, send it again. Oh, so frustrating. Okay, so Palliative has all the things now, and I had like a lost appointment. So originally my appointment for Palliative was May 30th, and after they got me into the early appointment, they never canceled my other appointment. And when I realized it, I wasn't going to say a word because I was just going to show up for another appointment on the 30th and want to know face to face what was going on, what is taking so long. So anyways, I guess yesterday or this morning, I think it was actually this morning, so the 29th, the day before the appointment, lost appointment. And so I log in today because I had 3 appointments today. I had one yesterday. I have another testing thing on Friday. So this was supposed to fall on a Thursday. And so I log into my system, like my chart, to check all my things, and the appointment's gone. And I was like, damn it, you know, like they totally found it. So I decided to send a message. I just sent an email, you know, said, you know, do you have any update? You know, do you need anything else? Like, where are we at? And my doctor calls me a couple hours afterwards. And mind you, I don't feel good. I'm so exhausted. I have thrush again. Everything tastes gross. Myriad of thousands of zillions of things. Not to mention I have 3 appointments. And there's massive storms that are coming to Texas. And there were supposed to be tornadoes in it and whatever. And it's just like, there's nothing I can do but drive. And, okay. So we chit-chatted for like 2 seconds because she was gone on vacation in Italy. That sounds awesome. And we were kind of chit-chatting about stuff, and she was like, well, I talked to your primary, and she's just completely overwhelmed by everything that you have going on. And I was like, absolutely. I said, it's why she's not being any help for me. And I said, it's just, she's petrified to make any decision, I'm assuming for liability purposes and whatnot. And so I said, so she's not being any help for me. And she was like, well, we also talked to your GI. And I'm like, awesome, because the GI gave me her blessing, and, you know, just somebody else is the one that's going to have to do it. And she was like, well, you know, we talked to GI, and they think that pretty much 100% of your problems with dehydration are coming from the POTS. And so we really need the cardiology records, and we really need to talk to your cardiologist. And I'm like stunned for like 3 different reasons. So we need to get the records. You already have the records. I talked to your staff. Your staff has the records. Second was her saying that my GI said that it's all completely POTS and there's no other reason and whatnot. I was like, are you kidding me? And I said, we already talked about all of this. And I said, yes, my GI is absolutely certain that I need to get everything from cardiology. It's all POTS, and it's absolutely everything that I have to deal with, and so he's the one that has to do it. And I said, I'm going to respectfully disagree. And I said, POTS is one thing that I have to deal with. So there's also the ichthyosis component, so my skin is leaching moisture 100% of the time, and I am not able to replace it on my own. I said, with the Sjogren's, I said, that is it's affecting every exocrine system in my body, and I'm having more and more and more problems with it as we go along. And I was like, I'm so baffled. And we'd already talked about all of this. This is what made me so angry. And I'm like, I already told you all of this. And I said that she's wrong. And I said, you know, I know she's got a white coat and I don't have one, but guess what? I'm the only one living in this body. And I was like, so I don't understand what you're saying that you don't have my records. I said, your staff has my records. I sent messages back and forth last week. They finally got them, even though they actually had them on the 19th and then missed it. And she was like, well, I don't see them in anywhere. So all this time we're going along the thing, and she hasn't seen any of the stuff that she was waiting for. And I'm like, it's all there. I said, I don't know what they did with it. I don't know where it goes in my stuff. I have no idea. But I said, I got a message from my nurse and my nurse practitioner saying that you had received it. And so she starts going through and she was like, blah, 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 you know, it's not here, it's not here. And she was like, oh my gosh, she's like, I just found it. And she was like, it's not in the place that it normally is and how it shows up and whatever. And I'm like, okay. And I said, so you haven't looked at any of that. And so I'm like, you know, what am I supposed to do? And she was like, well, your GI told me that you are getting a second opinion from cardiology at this health system. And I said, no, I'm not. I said, I am changing my cardiologist to that health system. And I was like, I have quite a few reasons as to why I'm not happy at the other office. And so I said, so yes, I'm changing, but I said, my first cardiologist doesn't know that yet, because if anything FUBARs on the second one, I'm not getting rid of the first one until I know that I'm going to be better taken care of at that location. And she was like, well, you see them next week, so let's just wait and see what they have to say. And I'm like, what they have to say about what? I said, I'm going to them for the cardiology reasons. The heart murmur, the palpitations, the muscle-thoracic outlet syndrome. And I said, yes, POTS is part of it, but what exactly are you expecting to happen on the first time that I meet a new doctor with what you know is a completely complicated medical history? And she was like, well, you need to talk to them about the port, and you need to talk to them about medication alarms. You need to talk to them about, you know, that they need to approve a port. Oh, I got up too fast. That, you know, they really need to be the one to approve your port, and they're the ones that need to maintain it because this is what your GI said. And I'm just like, oh my God, I was livid. I am not even gonna lie, I was so angry. And I was like, we have already gone over all of this stuff. I said, it's literally like you don't remember even talking to me. And she was like, well, I remember talking to you. And I said, right. And I said, but you're acting like, and I told you, I said that my GI had already given me her blessing on getting a port, but she couldn't do it because it didn't have to do with nutrition. And she was like, right, because she said that your nutrition is pretty good at the moment. And I said, if I can keep my feeding tube where it's supposed to be, yeah, it does okay. And I said, that doesn't have anything to do with hydration. And she was like, right, but you know, if we can get the POTS under control. And I'm like, oh my fucking God, you drank the Kool-Aid. And that's it. And that's absolutely the reason that I wanted to talk to them in person before they talk to any of my doctors, because my doctors are well-meaning. I totally get it. But everybody does not want to put their name on the dotted line because all I am is a liability. And it just, I'm so baffled that everybody is like, nobody's got any balls. Nobody has enough to just be like, okay, this girl is miserable. And I said, I have already proven that this works. I've proven after, what, 6 weeks, 8 weeks of being on IV fluids. And she was like, right, but you're only getting 2 bags of fluid a week, you know, and if that's all that you need, then, you know, then you can just keep going to the infusion center and, you know, you can just get peripheral IVs. I had to take a couple deep breaths, and I was like, and do you remember that I get car sick? And do you remember that it takes me an hour and a half to get the infusion center? It takes me 3 hours to get 2 bags of fluid after who knows how many IV sticks I've had to have. And I said, they blew one so bad on my last trip, and I said, I almost blacked out, almost puked on their shoes, and then had to take 10 minutes of me shaking like a motherfucker because everything got messed up, because I swear to God, when she put that IV stick in, it was like she hit bone. It was so awful. And I said, so I've had massive doses of adrenaline dumped in my system. I get the 2 bags of fluid, which is going to last me no more than 2 days. And I said, and then I get the bonus round of driving an hour and a half home. And I said, so all of this is what you guys think is my quality of life. This in the most amazeballs Hooby Health Center in the history of ever in Texas. And this is what you guys think is quality of life. This is what I'm supposed to do. And she was like, well, if all you need is 2 bags of fluid a week. And I said, no. I said, 2 bags of fluid is all I'm being allowed at the moment. It's not because 2 bags is holding me for a whole week. And I said, sometimes if my GI tract lays, shits the bed, and I said, that takes me 24 hours, and all of that fluid is already gone, and then I get to wait another 6 or 7 days before I can get back to the infusion center. And oh, guess what? I'm still working full time. Oh, guess what? I still have an actual life, and I have a kid, and I was so disgusted by that phone call. I cannot even tell you. And she was like, well, let's just wait to see what cardiology says. Oh, no, that wasn't all of it. And then she goes, well, maybe we just need to send you to a surgeon, and get their opinion. And I'm like, I already have general surgery's approval. I already have interventional radiology's approval. And I said, all of this was already scheduled, and then my primary lost her nerve, and she pulled it back because she didn't understand what I was asking the nurse. And she was like, oh yeah, let me get to the bottom of why she pulled that and whatever. And I was like, she pulled it because she doesn't understand. She pulled it because she absolutely has to have 14 other people agree and approve and do everything that she can't do on her own. And I was like, I don't understand why I'm having this conversation again. And I said, I'm so frustrated. And she was like, I'm so sorry that you're so frustrated, but let's wait until you talk to cardiology next week. And I was like, okay. And she was like, I know you're frustrated. And I was like, there is nothing else that I can say but okay. I said, it doesn't matter that it's my body. It doesn't matter that it's my quality of life. It doesn't matter that it's my veins. It doesn't matter at all whatsoever. It doesn't matter that I have proven that it works. Nothing matters until you guys get whatever you need on whatever magical checklist nobody will show me. Nothing is going to happen. And I said, so I'm going to go to cardiology, and it's going to go like it always does. New doctor, take 8 years to actually go through everything. Then, after they read everything, they still want me to tell why I'm there. So that's going to frustrate me to no end, and I'm going to try to put 39 years of awful into about 5 minutes. Guess what? That doesn't go so well. Then they're going to look at all of the records that they hopefully have in the system from cardiology at this point. Then they're going to want to redo all the testing, because that's what you guys do. You do testing, and you do labs, and you do testing, and you have follow-ups, and then testing, and then follow-ups, and then testing, and labs, and follow-ups, and more surgical procedures, and I don't actually get anything done. And so I said, I don't understand what you're expecting from a new patient appointment of cardiology next week. And I said, but okay. I said, there's nothing else that I can do. And I said, you guys promised that you would help me, and you are doing exactly what everyone else has done. And I said, you take all the information, you empathize, you pat my hand, and you rub my back, and you tell me that it's all going to be okay, and that you guys are going to be the saviors, and you're going to help me. And then when it actually comes down to it, you're doing nothing else but passing the buck to another doctor. But okay. And she was like, I know you're frustrated. Yeah, I'm fucking frustrated. And I was like, I've been playing this game for years and years and years. And I said, now I have a laundry list of all of the things that are wrong. I have documentation on top of documentation, and yet I still can't get the right help. And I was like, okay. There's nothing else to say, but okay. Thank you for your time. And she kept talking, and I don't know what she said and whatever, and I just hung up. I've been mad for hours. It's now 7:30 because my 7:30 alarm went off. So that was more than 9 hours ago, and I'm still this fired up about it. I'm baffled. I'm absolutely baffled. In a first world nation, when I have incredibly good insurance, in the health system that is supposed to be the mecca of all meccas, and I literally cannot get hydration. I have nothing else to say. I don't know how it's gonna go. I really don't. So now I'm somehow or another putting all of my faith into a doctor I've never met, and who won't come out, like, he won't come. I'm so frustrated. I'm so frustrated. Blah.